Good evening to everybody. It's Sunday evening and Move for Change Ministries. We are live on air once more, streaming out of Toronto, Canada. We are so happy to be on the broadcast once more this evening, and we thank you for your presence, bracing this ministry with your presence night after night, day after day. We thank you so much for sharing these broadcasts time after time, and we ask that you would continue liking this ministry, subscribe to this ministry, and let's just share the good news together. This evening we will be on health, and there's a special guest here with us this evening. I'll be bringing up Doc very shortly from now. So we ask that you would continue to stay locked in, plugged in, and locked into Move for Change Ministries one more time. It's such an honor and such a blessing to be on the broadcast one more time. Today, I'm your host, Baxter Lewis. So happy to be your host, streaming out of Toronto, Canada. And with me this evening, it's Dr. Rhonda. How are you doing, Doc? How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fabulous. I'm fabulous.
Great.
Always good to see you. Thanks for having me on, and I'm just so excited to be connecting with you once again, both you and your lovely audience. So thanks again.
Thank you so much. And we are so grateful to have you on the air once more. I think this is our third session since you started with us, and we are so grateful to have you on because health is wealth.
That's
Health
so
is
true.
wealth. And
That is so true. I
wow.
couldn't have said it better myself. Yes.
Good, good, good. So, welcome to this broadcast this evening. And we know we'll be having a wonderful time. I know there are lots of information that you have stored up there for us and for people out there in the virtual space. And we are looking forward for your information so we can have better health. You can guide us with our health, and we are just looking forward. So welcome once more to this broadcast today. We'll be talking today about Self-Care Sunday. Doc, I think I asked you this question in the back end, but I just can't remember why you chose the topic Self-Care Sunday.
Well, I chose this. First of all, that's a good question. And I chose this topic because maybe for personal reasons and just what I see happening in the community, people, as I talk to people about their health and what they're doing to try to stay healthy, especially in the time of a global pandemic, right?
Okay.
And so what I'm noticing is that all of us, we have points where we are almost running on empty.
Wow.
We're so busy doing for others. We're so busy at work, so busy taking care of our families, so busy doing all of the other work that we do in the community. And we're almost just, like I said, running on empty.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to that point, you're really not going to be able to be of use or proper service to anyone else.
Or even to yourself,
And
huh?
right, yeah. And I think it's just important that we take a step back and really take the time to nurture ourselves, to love on ourselves, to be good to ourselves, fill up that emotional bank, fill up that tank again,
Mm-hmm.
and in that way we will really have so much more to extend to other people.
Okay. Doc, before we go right into the program, there's a question I want to ask you. What about water? You remember you spoke to us about water before some time ago. Can you give us? Okay. Can you give us a little bit more about water before we go into the program? By the way, let me have a drink. I've been trying. Okay, I've been trying.
So have I. I fall
Mm-hmm.
short. I just keep trying. So I'll drink to that as well.
So, for those who are new
Cheers.
to the program, we would like you to share a tidbit about water before we go directly into today's program.
Well, hydration is key. Hydration is a pillar of health, and it's something that we can really add into our daily lifestyle pretty easily, but it can make a world of a difference.
Okay.
Water, as you know, as it's, I'm sure all of us have heard it being said, that water is a very important vital element to life. It's a source of life, and therefore a source of our health. And it can really affect every organ system. It's good for our skin, it's good for our digestive system, and of course, we're still in the midst of the coronavirus season. So it's really important for our immune system as well. You know, hydration is key. And most of the time, a lot of us just don't drink enough. And I'll have to say, if you're waiting until you are thirsty or you feel thirsty to drink, well, at that point in time, we're behind the eight ball, as they
Okay.
say, right? You're already dehydrated. You're already in a state of lack, already in a state of dehydration if you just wait until you're thirsty to drink. That's why it's important to just have a glass of water or a bottle of water if you're on the go. If you know you're going to be out for long periods of time, just fill up a big jug with water and have it with you and sip on it periodically throughout the day. You know, that may make it easier for your body to handle as well, because one of the drawbacks that I hear my patients, my clients saying is that, well, two things. But the first common drawback, or the first common reason why people say they don't drink water is because of the need to have to
Go to
use
the
the
bathroom.
bathroom afterwards, right? And so if you are doing it gradually, you'll be able to keep up, you know,
Yeah.
with your bladder, so to speak, as opposed to just chugging a whole, you know, bottle of
At one
water
time.
all at once, right? So if you just do it gradually and also work your way up. So first thing is take inventory of how much water you drink already. In a regular day, you know, you're not making any effort or anything like that. You're just going about your day, doing what you do, you know, being the mover and shaker that we all are in our various lives and lifestyles. Just take inventory and note how many ounces you drink already. And if you're falling short of your required amount of ounces that you need to get in, that's okay. But just work your way up by adding a couple ounces, you know, every few days. And that way your body will kind of adjust naturally to that degree of water intake. So say, for example, in your normal day, you find that, oh, you only drink about 20 ounces of water a day. I just threw out the number.
Yeah.
No rhyme or reason. But say you just know that you only drink 20 ounces of water a day, and you know that's not enough,
Right.
and you want to increase that. So you're not going to just jump to 64 ounces or 48 ounces or even 32. That's just going to be a little bit too much for your body and your bladder to handle, maybe. So what you'll do is just add a couple of ounces every you know, few days.
Okay.
So that way your body can adjust.
Okay.
The other common reason that people give me for not drinking enough water is because they just don't like the taste.
Okay.
They just can't, they just don't like the taste of water. And obviously any change that you're going to make, especially with your health, with your lifestyle. It has to be something that's comfortable for you to add in, because that's the only way that you're going to stick with it,
Okay.
right? And so my suggestion is to flavor your water with whatever fruit or vegetable or, something natural, some natural fruit slices to flavor your water.
Make it
That could be,
easier.
yes, just make it more palatable then. So
Okay.
that could be lemon, it could be mint, it could be blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, it could be cucumbers, whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
Just then that's called, the fancy term for that is infusion.
Okay.
Infusing your water. That's what it's called.
Okay.
But you can just add it in. I like to add. I mean, I have no problem drinking water. I can drink it, plain,
All the
no
time.
problem. But if I want to just spruce it up, and I'm feeling fancy one day, I'll drop a couple of leaves of mint, some a lemon slice,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of slices of cucumber to my water, and it's really, really, really refreshing.
Okay.
So water is really important. It can help with your joints if you're having joint pains, muscle aches. It's great for blood pressure. It also is a natural detoxifier and cleanser of your body. So it does wonders for your kidney and liver and circulation in general. So there are many health effects. It's also great if you have a lot of headaches, migraines. A lot of times it's just that you're dehydrated.
Right.
So I think we just pay attention to our water intake. And the other question I get is, okay, well, Doc, how much? So you told me to take my inventory and see how much water I'm drinking regularly. How much water should I be drinking? And so is it 48 ounces? Is it 64 ounces? Is it 8 glasses? What is it? And so it's going to vary from person to person.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I recommend, let now water challenge going here. Let me do it.
Okay. Okay.
Every time you take a sip, I take a sip. Every
Okay.
time I take a sip, you take a sip.
So we set
That's
it. We
how it.
set. We set in an example.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. So, what I like to say, a good rule of thumb is to take your weight in pounds,
Mm-hmm.
divide that in half,
Okay.
and that's how many ounces of water you should ideally be drinking every day.
Wow.
Now, of course, if you're not up to that level, like I said, you work up to it gradually. I have to also make a disclaimer here that some people, because of certain medical problems, they have been told by their physician,
Mm-hmm.
healthcare provider, that they should restrict their water intake. So, for example, some people with certain types of heart issues, kidney issues, what have you, they've been told to restrict their water intake. So if you've been told to restrict your water intake, that actually trumps anything that I'm saying.
Okay.
Always want to follow the guidelines of your personal care physician. Because
Okay.
even though I am a physician as well, board certified, um, I'm not your physician, so
Right.
I'm not taking care of you on a regular basis and know your background, your medical history, things of that nature. So it's just a general guideline. But again, if you've been told to restrict your water intake, or you have an issue with your kidney or an issue with your heart, it's always good to double check with your medical provider, your physician, your healthcare provider, to find out, do you need to restrict your water intake?
Okay. Doc, can we have a
So,
short break right here? Just want to take a short break. Want to welcome those who are now joining the broadcast. We are talking today about Self Care Sunday, and with us today is Dr. Rhonda, all the way from New York City. We ask you to stay locked in and plugged in to Move for Change Ministries because there are lots of things that would be very beneficial for us here this evening. And I want to let you know you can send in your questions. You have a question for Dr. Rhonda, you can put it in the chat. I'll read it off to her and she would gladly answer your question. Please send in a question. I am sure somebody out there is some important question you would like Dr. Rhonda to answer for you. We are looking forward for your question. Let's go back to our regular programming. Yes, Doc, coming back. What about if you do not, can someone drink too much water?
well, yes, that is possible, and there's actually a medical term for that when someone drinks too much water. It's actually called diabetes insipidus. You know how it's not the general diabetes that we normally
Okay.
hear about. When we talk about diabetes, the actual medical term for that is diabetes mellitus. But there is that term where, yes, it is possible to drink too much water. Is it likely that most of us will have that problem? Likely not. Usually the problem is on the other end where we're not
Not
drinking.
too much. Okay.
But
Not
it is,
enough.
it is possible. And the medical term for that is called diabetes insipidus, and it comes with a whole host of other complications as well.
Okay.
But from my experience, it's very rare. And again, the issue is on the other spectrum. For most of us, we're just not drinking enough.
Okay. Well, Doc, we thank you for the recap from our last program about water and the intake of water. I see you stretching across, so let's set an example.
That's right.
Great. Thank you for that recap from our last program. We'll be going into our evening's program right now. And my first question for you is this: how do you recognize when you are under stress?
Well, that is actually a personal question, and for each person, it's going to be different, right? And that's why it's important for us to listen to our bodies and pay attention to how we feel. A lot of times, again, we're so busy, we're just, have so many hats that we're wearing. Our plate is just over full. Our body could be sending us signals, little small signals, that if we're not in tune and we're not focused, we miss them.
Like what? Signals like what?
So some people, when they're stressed, they become very irritable.
Okay.
They become very moody. They, just have a short fuse, so to speak. They can be just snapping at everyone or simple things. So you might notice how one thing that you want to pay attention to is how you come across in relations to other people.
Okay.
Right? So that's a big thing. And some people, when they are stressed out, they have problems sleeping. So, and that can vary from sleeping too much to not being able to sleep much at all. So it varies from person to person. Some people, when they're stressed out, they notice changes in their appetite. Some people overeat, and some people, they just lose their appetite altogether.
Okay.
Some people, when they're stressed, they lose weight. Other people gain weight. Some people, when they're stressed, you notice that the heart rate increases, blood pressure increases, they have frequent headaches, they're feeling very tired, so it's important for each and every one of us
Mm-hmm.
to, again, it's all about taking inventory, paying attention to how you perceive the changes in your body, and saying to yourself, could I be stressed? Am I worrying about something? Do I have particular constraints at work right now? Am I finishing a huge project, or is it something family related that's going on? A lot of times we're so busy taking care of things and trying to put things in place
Mm-hmm.
that we're not paying attention.
Doc,
Some people,
there's a
go
question here.
ahead.
Seeing that you're on sleep, there's a question here for you from Colin Chris Perry. He's asking, how about the inability to sleep?
Yeah, that very well can be a sign of stress. So some people, they sleep too much, they oversleep, or they just feel really tired, really fatigued, and that's causing them to just want to sleep more, while others, they're not sleeping enough. They can't
Mm-hmm.
fall asleep, or if they are able to fall asleep, they don't get a restful sleep. They're waking up several times in the night and can't go back to sleep. And
Okay.
often the next day, they're not well rested because they didn't get enough sleep.
And all of this is the mere fact of stress.
It can be. It very well can be.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about stress, I'm talking about chronic stress. Stress in and of itself is really not a bad thing. It can actually be very protective,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the acute stages. And when I'm talking about acute stress, I'm talking, minutes to just a couple of hours, what we know as the fight or flight response. That's an acute stress situation. And again, that can actually be protected because you have to decide in that moment
Mm-hmm.
if you need to protect yourself or if you need to flee a situation, and your body, particularly your adrenals, the adrenal glands, which are two glands that sit just on top of your kidney,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those are the glands that produce stress hormones. They're called the glucocorticoids, cortisol, things in that family. And when those hormones are released from the adrenals, it raises your blood pressure, raises your heart rate, raises your glucose, right? And improves the circulation to your heart and your brain, and decreases the circulation elsewhere. Because if you think about it, if you're in a situation where you have to decide if you need to protect yourself or you need to flee the situation, you need more circulation to your brain so you can actually make those quick decisions.
Okay.
You need more circulation to your heart because the heart has to be effective at pumping. Your blood pressure and your heart rate will have to go up because, you know, that's a way of shuttling blood flow to the important vital organs that need to work during that fight or flight response.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the acute phase, right? A couple of minutes, no more than a couple of hours. But a lot of us, sometimes we suffer from this chronic stress, which is lasting days, months, years. Think about a situation at work, a situation at home, you know, that's troublesome. and it's not quickly solved. So imagine if your heart rate is consistently elevated or your blood pressure is consistently elevated, that's going to lead to hypertension,
Right.
right? If your blood sugar is consistently elevated, because again, in the acute stress phase, the pancreas, which is responsible for producing insulin, which is the hormone that is connected to your blood sugar levels.
Mm-hmm.
In a fight or flight response, you need extra sugar because that is the main source of energy in that fight or flight response that the body's going to use.
Okay.
So if your body is suffering from chronic stress, where the adrenal glands are just pumping out those stress hormones and affecting your blood sugar level, raising it all the way, and your blood sugar level is chronically raised, that will lead to what? Diabetes,
Okay.
right? So chronic stress can lead to a lot of different health issues, particularly heart disease and diabetes. But chronic stress also weakens your immune system. So if your immune system is weak, it's not going to be able to fight against all the different
Right.
bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi. It's not going to be able to mount that response, and so leave your body susceptible to a lot of different infections.
Right. Doc, we have
Be able to get rid of toxins efficiently and effectively.
yeah. Tiffany is asking. I think she's relating more to food. What kind of food can we eat, to help our bodies in this stressful time? And also, I'm giving you two in one. And Calvin is also asking, what are some recommended medication for chronic stress? Food and recommended medication for chronic stress.
Okay.
And
So
then
I'll take.
go ahead. Go ahead. The questions are coming in. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I was gonna take the first question,
Okay.
which what kind of foods can we eat to relieve stress?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's actually a very good question. Who asked that question?
Tiffany.
Thank you. These are great questions coming in. Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks for joining us. So when it comes to your nutrition, you really want to pay attention you want to stay away from processed foods as much as possible, especially in general, but especially when you're under stress.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the processed foods are can give that instant gratification, right away, in the long run, it actually causes more problems. So a good rule of thumb to keep it simple is that in general, but particularly when you're under stress, because you know that your immune system is going to be weakened, and you know that your blood pressure might be a little bit higher and heart rate is a little bit higher, you really want to stay away from highly processed foods, refined sugary foods, and foods that have high contents of salt, because that's going to make the situation worse, right? High salt diet, even though you might feel that craving when you're under stress, you need something salty, that can affect our blood pressure levels. It can, even the sugary foods that we crave when we're under stress, is going to affect our blood sugar levels even more. So you really want to stay away from the highly processed foods with a lot of chemicals, a lot of different ingredients of things that when you read the label, you can't even pronounce. You've never heard of it. A good rule of thumb is whole foods. foods without labels. So particularly your plant-based foods,
Right.
fruit, vegetables, your produce, and red meat is also something that you want to limit as well, particularly under stress. So I hope that answered the question. So whole foods, more fruits and vegetables. We talked about water so much. That's really gonna be
Oh, that's
key.
important. So we take some water.
Yes, take another sip. That's right.
Well,
And yeah, so fruits and vegetables, low salt, stay away from the refined sugary foods and foods that have a lot of processing. So
okay.
if you stick to that, that's a good rule of thumb.
Want to welcome those who have just joined the broadcast. I'm seeing Jennifer McPherson, waving at Dylan. How are you doing? Just welcome you. Simon, we welcome you to the program. And Sebastian, and there are others on the back end. We are not seeing the names as yet, but we welcome you to this live broadcast tonight. And we are talking about Self-Care Sunday. We have with us today Dr. Rhonda, all the way from New York, and she's doing an awesome job in helping us with our stress level and how we need to take care of ourselves. Dr. Rhonda, we want to take a break for a short commercial.
Thank you for joining us. You can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Move for Change Ministries, and you can watch us on our YouTube channel. Tune in on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., Sunday nights at 8 p.m., Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and Friday nights at 8 p.m. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified when we are live.
Welcome back. My wife is asking a question here, Doc. I know you mentioned something about it early on, but I still want to ask you a question. What are some of the best superfoods to combat stress?
Yep.
The best superfoods to combat stress.
So the term superfood. So superfoods are basically foods that have extremely high content of nutrients, nutrient dense foods. So the best superfoods, anything that's considered an antioxidant, is a great superfood. So antioxidants can come in so many different forms. I mean, vitamin C, vitamin E, resveratrol that you can have from grapes, ellagic acid from.
Okay, it seems like we are having some problem with our connection there with Dr. Rhonda, and meanwhile we want to let you know that we are just dealing with self-care and how important it is for us to take care of ourselves. It's very important because especially in this time of pandemic, it is so important that we look at our stress level. You know, we are living in times right now where the stress level is going up, Chris. Stress levels are climbing, and just the mere fact of what we are experiencing today in the world, our stress level important. She recommends to us one of the good things that we need to do is to have lots of water, have rest, you know, make sure that you pay attention to your body so that you would not get sick because stress can creep up with all different kind of things, and we do not want to get there. Let me see if I can pull up back Dr. Rhonda with us. It would seem like we're still out. She's still out. So right about now, we just want to take a short break, and we will be back with you shortly.
To help this ministry reach others, you can donate to us at www.moveforchangeministries.com or www.moveforchangeministries.org. For those of you in Canada, you may donate via e-transfer to Move for Change Ministries at gmail.com For those of you in the United States, you can transfer funds through Zelle with the phone number 347-898-9398 or the email moveforchangeministries@gmail.com. You can also give us a call at 647-784-3681. We thank you for your support.
Well, we have lost Dr. Rhonda, and we might have to be closing the program here shortly. I would just let you know what the questions that was coming up for her, and we want you to relate this question to yourself. How do you practice self-care? You know, I can share with you some thoughts that she shared with me on the back end before we came on the program. The other question was for Dr. Rhonda, how do you cope with being a doctor, with family life, and also in the pandemic time? You know, she did share some information with me. Chris is saying here in the blog, we are told that exercise is a good form of stress management, and that is true, Chris. We have to learn to exercise, you know, and manage our stress. It is also said that sexual activity is another good form. And Dr. Rhonda is not here to answer that one. You know, please elaborate on sex can impact our possibility on stress management. Well, Chris, I heard that one before. That's what married people, okay? I heard that one before. That's a good way in relieving some stress, you know. No one else would ask that question but Chris. But in all, we need to learn to take care of our health. Nobody can take care of our health for us. We got to take care of our health for ourselves, you know, drinking enough water, having exercise, you know, be careful of the food that we eat time after time. It is imperative, it is important that we do such, you know. In doing that, we will be taking care of ourselves. We also got to learn to have enough sleep. Dr. Rhonda is saying she's sorry, she's lost the connection, and we have to learn to have enough sleep. And this is something that my wife and I normally talk about. If you have a suggestion, you can put it in the box. I will just read them off, you know. We have to learn to have enough sleep. Maybe if you take some time with me, I can try to see if I can have her up on the screen by I can play a song and see if I can get back Dr. Rhonda on the screen while we let me see. Dr. Rhonda is saying 7 to 9 hours of sleep we ought to get. So she's working from the background. She's working from the background. She's typing from the background, and that's good. She's back up and running with us right now. Dr. Rhonda? Are you hearing me, Doc? She's up on the screen with me, but I'm not. Are you hearing me, Doc? Okay, are you hearing me? Okay, hold on. I think I know what's going on here.
I don't think I can.
Yes, I'm hearing you very well now.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess I'm in.
Yes, I'm hearing you. You can go. So, Doc, you can go right ahead. We're talking about self-care. Are you hearing me?
There must be a delay.
Okay, hold on. I'm so sorry
I'm
that
wondering if this is happening in real time.
yeah.
Yes, I am. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. I'm definitely hearing you. Let me see if I can can do something about this here. Yeah, there's a delay. We would have to close the program there. Definitely. Doc, stay close